Hello guys, welcome to United's Glory. In this video we're going to talk about how Ole can use the Bruno-Pogba relationship to steer Manchester United to competing for the Premier League title either next season or potentially beyond. Bruno Fernandes has been simply sensational since arriving at Manchester United in the January transfer market and has led Manchester United on an unbeaten run since his arrival. Of course, Paul Pogba, being injured for the majority of the season, has returned, but we all know Paul Pogba is a world-class player who you often felt was let down by the lack of talent around him. But the arrival of Bruno Fernandes does give him another class talent to collaborate with in United's midfield, and we've already seen early promises of that link-up play, despite them only playing 3 games together, in which 2 of them Paul Pogba came off the bench. Whilst it seemed likely that Paul Pogba will be leaving Manchester United this transfer window to either Real Madrid and less likely returning to Juventus, that now seems unlikely due to the pandemic outbreak, which of course brought down lockdowns and of course caused matches to be played behind closed doors, obviously affecting finances of certain clubs, particularly Real Madrid. So that now looks like it's not an option for Paul Pogba. He needs to stay at Manchester United, and obviously if he's going to be here, he might as well as give his all. So this is a chance to really build this partnership. If he leaves next year, so be it. But for now, we have this relationship that can be built on and lead us, hopefully, to challenging for a title next season. Now, don't get me wrong, we are currently trailing Liverpool by 37 points, and the season could well finish with us being 40 points behind. We can close that gap if we get Pogba and Bruno playing consistently together, and our upturn of form in the second season holds a lot of promise. We have improved vastly since Bruno Fernandes' arrival, and of course, even during his arrival, we've had Paul Pogba and Marcus Rashford, who was our top goal scorer before his injury, out of the team since then. Obviously, both of them have returned now, and we're getting to see the fruits of what could potentially happen when all these players are on the pitch. Also seeing link-up play between Martial and Rashford, which I'll cover in a different video. But back to the fact that Paul Pogba could have been leaving to Real Madrid. It looked like our midfield would need further reinforcements. I would still bring in another body in that midfield, but our midfield is looking particularly strong now, and Nemanja Matic has seen a resurgence. Fred has had a great season, probably one of our players of the season. He was unlucky to be dropped against Sheffield United, and McTominay is still coming along and is definitely a physical presence in that midfield. However, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has stuck with the 4-2-3-1 formation. He seems to favour that formation, but I think that's limiting Manchester United's attacking prowess by having Pogba in that deep lying position and Bruno further up. It can work in some games, but I feel against the lesser teams that we should be pushing both Pogba and Fernandes further up the field, with obviously an anchor being either Matic or Fred. 2 good options really when you consider that Fred's really good at pressing opposition, so if we want to press teams further up the field, Fred would be a good option to have behind Bruno and Pogba, or Matic, of course, would be a better option against teams that aren't so susceptible to the press and have a physical and height advantage. Despite only being in 3 games, there's some things I would like to see though. I would like to see Bruno and Pogba interchanging roles. So far we've largely seen Bruno taking the more advanced roles, with Pogba playing deeper, playing as a deep playmaker, which of course has worked, but I think we can be a little bit more unpredictable if we have these 2 interchanging. Sometimes Bruno taking up the deeper positions whilst Pogba advances further and closer to the box. And when we are really high up the field, I'd like to see one of them taking it upon themselves to make a penetrating run into the box, whilst the other hovers around the outside of the box, ready to collect any clearances. This would alleviate the burden on Martial to make the correct run, and obviously give the wingers or the fullbacks more options in the box to aim for. Against Norwich in the FA Cup quarterfinals, when Pogba did come on, although the game circumstances changed and we had 2 strikers on the pitch in Martial and Nagalo, with Matic dropping into defence, Bruno and Pogba were both taking positions just outside the box. I just feel like we didn't particularly need that. We needed one of them in the box to create more havoc in that box and give Norwich more to defend against, but both of them were both camped on the outside of the box and basically just passing sideways to each other. This may have just been circumstantial, but I just don't feel like we need both of them on the edge of the box. We need one more advanced than the other, so it gives an outlet for the one that's in possession. This may just have been circumstantial to that Norwich game, as we were playing against a 10 men. And of course, if Bruno and Pogba become the main focus point of our team playing in midfield, that can cause the opposition to take it upon themselves to crowd out the centre of the park, which this is where they would need the help of the wide men. Of course, Marcus Rashford's getting back to fitness and is usually good. What we need Marcus Rashford to stop doing is dropping back, trying to become a playmaker. We need him in that final third, He can play make in the final third by all means, but he needs to be an outlet for these two midfielders to find a pass to. We need a right forward, as I don't feel we have any options, particularly at the moment, that can cut it, and the fullbacks need to keep bombing forward and making daring, risky runs. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going from stride to stride and is very solid defensively. His attacking game, his offensive game is improving all the time. Luke Shaw, for me, just doesn't quite do enough. And if he cannot improve in the closing stages of this season and into next season, then I feel we should probably be looking for a new marauding left back. Because if teams start to try and squeeze out Bruno and Pogba, the fullbacks are going to become pivotal in breaking down opposition defences. As we saw against Tottenham, Mourinho was prepared for this Bruno-Pogba relationship. He tried to squeeze out the middle of the park. One thing that I've really enjoyed seeing is how Bruno has been getting close to Martial and that link-up play between him and Martial, giving us a link between the midfield and attack. Pogba can play the passes. Bruno consistently finds pockets of spaces and can also retain the ball when in tight pockets of spaces and even pick off a pass to find Martial linking up the midfield to attack. But I feel that Pogba can do that too, which is why I feel if they interchange a little bit, it will make us a lot more difficult to defend against. But of course, this is all going to come down to coaching, and that's the big question mark over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the moment. We do seem to be moving in the right direction, albeit slowly. With another season and the continued progression and evolution of the team, I see no reason why we can't be competing for a title next season if we get a good right forward into the team with these two behind Rashford, Martial, and let's say for hypothetical sake, Sancho. If we have that kind of forward line with these two providing them, I feel we could go a long way. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed talking about Manchester United, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you think these two can become the best midfield partnership in the Premier League, do smash a like on the video. Anyway, guys, see you soon.